We are back, and today we are doing an experiment. We are playing blue-white, but with a little twist of the things that we decided to put in the deck and not to put in the deck. So let's go, let's do it. Alright, well, this opening hand isn't so bad except for the fact that Entreat the Angel is already in our hand. But we do have an island, a Flooded Strand, a Spell Snare, Path to Exile, another island, and an Art. So we'll keep it. And our opponent is on the play, with starting off with Mistress Bubble. So this is either a Merdu deck with Death Shadows and the new Death Shadow or new Tarmogoyf. Well, another Mistress Bubble with Polluted Delta. I'm not sure exactly what this deck is. We got another island, so basically we're all set for the Flooded Strand to find Mystic Sanctuary. That definitely will take some time. We have to play all our islands first before we can fetch for our Mystic Sanctuary. And our opponent is cycling. Oh yeah, this is probably a Death Shadow deck. The fact that they have Street Raid and they're so happy with playing their lands untapped and cycling Street Raid and just keep on lowering down their life total as quickly as possible. And then they have Tarmogoyf. So it's a blue-green-black deck with Tarmogoyf and, well, I'm pretty sure there's a Death Shadow here in this deck. Death Shadow. What is he thinking? Oh, wow. Turn 1, Gurmag Angler. Well, good thing we're prepared. We have Path to Exile. And we are going to path that now, except we're giving our opponent an extra land. So maybe we can do it in his upkeep. It's just that he is untapping at the same time, so let's see. Alright, he allowed it, so he probably doesn't have a counterspell. Probably. Or maybe he's saving it for something else. But that's a good catch. A good trade-off. Wasted a bunch of resources and his graveyard for one Path to Exile. Now, if he casts anything that is worth 2, we have Spell Snare ready for that. So he fetched again and, yep. Taking 2 damage like a man. Wow, Inquisition of Kozilek. So he is either probably taking Spell Snare or Opt, or maybe even Entreat the Angel. Oh yeah, he took off. Opt. So he's probably not that scared with Spell Snare. So now he has Death Shadow. It's just a 1/1 for now. So we're ready for our Flooded Strand next turn. Let's just hope that he doesn't pump his Death Shadow by taking more damage. Alright. Well, with what we are holding, there's nothing we can do about that. So, oh, yeah, okay. So he didn't do anything. We just took 1 damage. And another Thought Scour. Maybe he's trying to do, or probably trying to cast another Gurmag, or probably Tassigur. Wow, that's a lot of digging. And he even put one of his Death Shadows in his graveyard. Or maybe he has Unearth to get them back. Yeah, I think these kinds of decks has that, right? I don't know, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's play our Flooded Strand here. So the game plan at this point is to get our Path to Exile back on top of our library so that... Oh, he got Dismember wasted. He took 6 damage for that, or so, or 4 damage I think. Now we're gonna do our we're gonna get our Path to Exile back on top of our library, and while our opponent is tapped out, we are going to cast Omen of the Sea, and we're testing out how, if they do have a Force of Negation in their hand, but apparently they're saving it. Probably they're saving it for something else, or they're not. They don't have it. Now I've kept them both on top, and I draw the Path to Exile, and I'm gonna cast it now since they don't have any Force of Negation in their hand. I can't let it go back to his upkeep again, just like what I did earlier, because it's probably having a counter spell to use, if not Force of Negation. And we still have Spell Snare as our backup counter with our 1 island open, and he should be well aware of that. Well, he's still casting Tarmogoyf, so I guess he does have a backup Tarmogoyf. Oh! He decided to quit. Alright, so far so good. Counterbalance didn't show up, but that's fine. So, what do we need to take out? And what do we need to put into this deck? I'm taking out Pact of Negation because it's either a little too slow and we can't pay for the 5 mana before we can actually use it. We're putting in Blessed Alliance because it's a creature based deck that doesn't really attack with a lot of creatures. So Attention Sphere is also not so good because it's a 3 mana, it's a little slow, but Celestial Purge, Aether Gust, and Blessed Alliance, all of them instant speed, all of them can be done in my opponent's turn, or whenever they're trying to do something to kill us, then yeah. So I'm taking out 1 Cryptic to make out our 60. Because I also felt Cryptic is a little too slow and we have too many of that. So we only put in 3 of our sideboards. We are on the play. We have Hallowed, Teferi, Time Raveler, Path, Opt, another Path, a Field of Ruin, and Aether Gust. So we got 1 of our sideboards in our opening hand. Our opponent decided to mulligan to 6. We got a couple of a couple of paths, so I will definitely keep that. Plus we have Aether Gust, so we're kind of well prepared, well equipped for this upcoming battle in case our opponent decided to start casting one bomb over another. And we drew our Cryptic command, the one that we don't want to see as early as turn 2 or turn 1. We got it, so... Oh, and then we have Terminus. We're drawing our cards in a not so perfect timing. The good news is our opponent isn't playing anything, even on turn 2. Normally they probably should have already casted Inquisition, Thoughtseize. They should have started cycling something and putting their life total down to, well, they managed to do that anyway, but they didn't cast any threats. It's now turn 3. I mean, it seems like he's still not casting nothing. Oh, now he's casting Tarmogoyf. Alright. So we can let that in, I think. Or we can counter that with Aether Gust. Yeah. I mean, I can choose from countering it using Aether Gust or Path to Exile, but I prefer Aether Gust because it kind of delays our opponent a little bit, because he's definitely putting it on top of his library. It's one of his threats. But our opponent decided to fetch for a water grave, and they have a stubborn denial. So that one will get countered, which is also fine, because if he does counter that, our backup plan is of course to cast one of our Path to Exiles. And I think I want to do this on our opponent's upkeep, simply because, even though they do have 3 mana available, simply because we have 2 Path to Exiles. If we only have 1, I could have done it on my turn. But since we have 2, and if they want to counter it, that's fine. Which they didn't, which is good. So let's see. What are you gonna do next? Oh wow. Mystic Sanctuary will definitely come into play. Tap. I have to do it, I need the land. I can cast Teferi Time Raveler if I want to, or I can just sit back and probably opt at the end of my opponent's turn, and or use Path if our opponent decided to cast another creature. Just like that. But you know what? What I'm thinking is I'm probably gonna use Field of Ruin here, so we can have our 3rd blue source, so that next turn and the next coming turns we have access to Cryptic Land. And then we can use Opt at the end of our opponent's turn instead. So at least we're... Oh! Counterbalance. I think I want to keep it. It's a good way of testing our opponent's counter spells as well, if they have it or not. So I can try and path it now if I want to, or maybe I can cast Counterbalance here first. Counterbalance. Let's see. Do you have a counter spell? Well, it did not counter it. Alright, so let's go for Path to Exile. Thinking. Oh, he does have a counter spell. Alright, he just wanted to protect that shadow. Alright, a Counterbalance triggered, and it revealed a Spell Snare, which is good enough to counter Stubborn Denial. So, Death Shadow will most likely... Oh yeah! Oh, our opponent says, GG, flooded hard. Oh, I think what he meant by that is he's got a lot of lands, or he drew a lot of lands. So, do you like that video? I kinda enjoyed it. It's a good game. Well, at least in our favor. So, game 1 of our blue-white control experiment seemed to work fine. Seemed to be okay. What do you think? And if you like the video, please hit like and subscribe. See you again in the next episode.